We are going to continue our code with an emergency buoy. Here, we are going to make a recapitulation of all the topics that we have discussed above already. It should be noted that when we use the variables, we must always think to declare it. That is to say, to give it a value. If I take the variable name, here this variable has been declared and initialized to a string because input is a function that has a string as a parameter. And we must note here that Python is sensitive to the case as well as Java. If I do, for example, name with a capital N and I don't change the variable here, when I launch my code, it asks me for the name, I put anything and I enter the age. You see there is an error at this level. You have to try to read the code. If we look at line 15, we are informed that there is an error of type name error on line 15. That means that we didn't name the name as it should have been, so we have to be very careful when we declare the variables and when we call this variable. It should also be noted at this level, when declaring this variable there is no space. If I do not make example name of the person, you will see that is underlined in red. It means that is an error. We never write the names of the variables with spaces. At worst, you can put the dash of 8. At this level, you see everything works normally. It is these small remarks that we must note. At this level, when we take the name, which is equal to the function input and between brackets a character string, we see that it is several things at once. This function input takes as a parameter a character string which will be displayed on the screen and which is initialized. So name as for initial value, what is your name? We can also know the tabulation and the dates. The tabulations are important for the code when we write a code in the blocks, because in Python we do not manage the braces. That removes the tabulation that is at this level. You will see that there is an error. There is an error simply because Python manages intents, and to enter the code, well, we must make a tabulation so that the code is well structured, and especially not to forget the colon. When we write a function or a condition, etc., it is never necessary to forget the colon, because it is that which makes it possible to say to your code that not it is only one block that you work. I have removed the colon. At this level there is an error. There must be a colon for my code to work perfectly. Here it should be noted that when we call a variable we need to declare it before. For example, if I do a print, which is a function that displays a message on the screen, if I do a print, you will see that there is an error. It cannot work even if I run my code. I am told that on line 6 there is an error, name error, because the name has not been declared. I will delete that and I will put after the declaration of the name. Instead, you see that everything works normally. There is no error. If I answer anything here, it shows up normally. There is no error. So it's first the declaration, then the initialization, and then the call. Now we're going to see the difference between a plus and a comma. I'm going to start with a comma. I'm going to do a print, parentheses, double quotes. I'm going to put anything in the strings, and then I'm going to put a double quotes, comma, and I'm going to continue. If I run my code at this level, you will see that normally displays. In fact, this comma allows to enter several parameters in the function print, and now If I copy this and I put at the bottom and instead of the comma I put a plus, you will see that there is different because the plus allows to make the concatenation. It is this one. And if I want to add, for example, a number as we have seen above, I put, for example, a plus 1, 2, 3, and I'll launch my code. There is an error at line 7 because it says that it is an int while the other is of type string, and to concatenate I must put a str parenthesis. I restored everything. Works normally, it is good at this level. Now we have seen the int and the str. We can write our code differently at this level. We're going to replace age, we're going to copy this, and we're going to add it at this level and put this as a comment if I rerun my program. Here, there is already an error because next age is no longer defined, and to remedy this, we must put an int here in the front. This is another way of doing this code, and put here age plus 1. I restart my code and you see that everything works normally. I'll see you soon in the next video on the while loops.